Thinking about the paycheck today. Everybody wants to get paid. Everybody wants to get paid on time. But a younger generation doesn't want to get paid once a month, doesn't want to get paid every other week. They want to get paid every week or every day. It's a story that's traveling around the country because of an Australian TikToker. But I think the point she raises is interesting. Because to be honest, I think it is so weird that we get a check every 2 weeks. I show my butt up to work every day. Honestly, I feel like they should hand me a bucket of money when I walk out the door. Should probably hand me one when I walk in. I would like more buckets of money. Does anyone ever get handed a bucket of money? I'm not sure. How do you want to get paid? 651-461-9226. Here is Ren Adelina, who is 21 and has, I don't know, 1 million or so views on this very simple and very direct TikTok.
Getting paid fortnightly needs to be genuinely banned because 1 week, oh, I am so rich. I am so rich. The next week, living off genuine scraps.
By the way, Dan, like, don't you wish you had an Australian accent? Like, it's so adorable.
I wish I had an Australian accent, and I also would like to point out that the word fortnight is criminally underused.
It's true. This Midwestern voice that I have, like, if I could trade it in for any accent, I don't know, is an Australian dude accent as cute as an Australian woman accent?
I mean, it's in the eye of the beholder, I imagine.
It's probably cuter than whatever this is.
Well, that's true. I would probably prefer British to Australian myself, but
Can we hear her one?
Please, absolutely we can.
One more time. This has 90,000 likes. It has been viewed, I don't know, 1 million times? Who knows? Dan, here it is again.
Getting paid fortnightly needs to be genuinely banned because 1 week, oh, I am so rich. I am so rich. The next week, living off genuine scraps.
Do you remember those days, though, when you were first starting out?
Yeah, it was last week. What do you mean, do I remember those days?
Living off genuine scraps. When I first started out, I was making $18,000 a year as a TV reporter. 18 grand. $9 an hour is what I was making. In some of the comments, it says, girl, wait till you get paid monthly. And Ren, who created this video, says, stop, that's so scary. Now, part of why I bring this up is there has been debate, and a lot of banks and credit unions now do stuff where you can get paid every day. And a texter pointing out that if I do want to get paid every day, maybe I should be a male stripper. You know, a lot of people are saying it. A lot of people are saying it.
That texter's not the first, for sure.
No, maybe. It's all thanks to Livia that I'm getting more requests.
It's amazing they don't work that into their heads.
Yeah. I had a job that paid monthly. It was great for budgeting. All bills are monthly. I paid them and knew clearly what I have to live on. I think that's sort of interesting, right? What is the best way? What is the best way to budget? Is it now? I am willing to suspend the fact that, like, throughout most of my life, I've been paid every other week. So, like, I sort of know how to budget with that. I know when the money's coming in. I know what bills are going out. Also, my wife handles that. So, like, that works out real well for me. Because am I to be trusted?
Clearly not.
You know when payday is, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
When is our next payday here?
A week from this Friday.
Because we got paid last week.
Right.
I don't know. Alyssa handles this.
You because you can't be trusted, clearly.
I think the idea of paying people every week makes a lot of sense.
It certainly makes more sense now in the day and age of direct deposit, right? Where it's not a matter of printing payroll checks where that you don't want to double your overhead.
Which I get that. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
But these days where it's just an electronic transfer, again, that probably still costs a certain amount of money, but certainly nothing on the order of printing payroll checks.
67% of Americans in a recent poll believe the once or twice a month pay period is outdated. If given a choice, this was surprising, and frankly, I find it unbelievable. Given a choice, employed Americans, not unemployed Americans, but 50% to 44% employed Americans would rather get paid more frequently as opposed to having a more flexible work schedule. Getting paid every other week, honestly, it makes no sense. And Dan nailed it. When you were printing out a paycheck, sure. But I don't see why I can't get paid once a week. 651-461-9226. Question being, how much would it cost to pay people every day? Texter says, I would prefer to be paid more rather than paying to be paid. So I think what that texter is getting at, if you'd rather get paid $1,000 a year more than making the company incur $1,000 worth of cost, right? Like if it costs more to pay you more frequently.
Sure. So
I guess
pay
that's
me less frequency if you're going to pay me more money overall.
I don't know. What the cost is of running a payroll. But all of this seems mostly digital and automated, right? Like you clock in on a lot of people clock in on an app. If you're salaried, certainly, like what's the difference? If you're salaried, why not pay people more often? The question is like, what helps you budget better?
Is it a matter of budgeting or is it a matter of disciplined spending, right? That when you have a bunch of money sitting in your checking account, well, it's that much easier to go on Amazon and spend $20 here, $40 there, $50, because who cares? I'm flush, I'm good, right? And then you get to the end of the month and that rent payment's coming and that rent payment you got to make is coming up, and suddenly, things are stretched pretty tight.
Right.
That to me isn't a budgeting issue. That's a discipline issue, right? I think one of the other earlier textures was hinting at that.
Yeah, the idea that the monthly pay helps you budget better. A texter says, as a member of a Teamsters local at a dealership where I used to get my oil changed, the texter says, we got paid once a week, as that's how it is in the contract. But then another texter says, if you want weekly payroll, have fun doing that. For 150 employees, it takes 12 hours working on payroll via ADP. Because you got to figure out PTO, paid leaves, unpaid, state tax rates, benefits, retirement, all of that. I suppose there is that. Look, nobody wants to hear from the HR person with your complaints. What do I care? I'm coming to work.
Figure it out.
Giving the company my labor, and they get to sit on that for 2 weeks before I get my paycheck. Texter saying it is not digital. It is very manual to look at every employee's transaction that occurs on a paycheck. Corporations with large payrolls want their money sitting and collecting interest as long as possible. I think that, right?
That's not nothing.
That's not nothing. In the early 90s at a big insurance company, we got paid weekly. What I will say what I like about these texts is that the initial reaction to this story was that Gen Z is a bunch of babies. You little 21-year-old losers who can't figure out how to budget. Like, you get paid twice a week. You shouldn't be living on scraps in week 2. Don't blow all your money in week one.
That would be
You
the idea.
entitled 21-year-old week one.
That would be
You
the idea.
entitled 21-year-old TikTok influencer brat. And instead, everyone's responding with like reasoned conversation. Is that what we're doing on this show today? Are we doing reasoned conversation? Because I need to take the whole plan and throw it out the window. That is not what we were expecting today. It's 3:19.